Hey guys, it's crazy to be back making videos again. If you've been here for a while, then you may or may not recognize my channel. I'm switching up my content just a little bit, so it's still My Hero Academia content, but just more discussion based. I should probably also mention that everything mentioned here in this video is just my opinion. I'll reference chapters and all to back it up, but it's okay if you don't agree with whatever I'm saying here. I feel like today's topic is kind of controversial. I'm discussing why My Hero Academia isn't flopping as hard as some of you seem to think. Although, I'll be honest, I kind of only see people on Twitter complaining. From what I've seen, the fandom that spends most of their time on YouTube seems generally positive. So it mainly just depends what circles you surround yourself in. If I'm being honest, I think that most of this video is just me criticizing other people's critiques. So really just giving my opinion. So I think the controversy and what originally made people start to become critical over My Hero Academia is the Tartarus Escapees arc and also the Star and Stripe arc. Many people were critical over Horikoshi introducing new characters only to kill them off. Well, Nagant wasn't really killed off, but she was taken out. I can agree that Nagant and Star and Stripe were done dirty. Like, it probably would have been better if they'd been introduced at an earlier point. However, many people seem to dismiss the point of their arcs. Here's Nagant, a woman who had once been a hero, working hard just to benefit society, just like Hawks, or better yet, what Deku himself aspires to be. However, she kills people. Since season 1 of the anime, or chapter 13 of the manga, which was the USJ arc, we have been told that heroes cannot kill people. However, here is a pro-hero who is ordered by the Public Safety Commission themselves to kill people. Nagant is a character who creates cracks in the hero society's facade. This is a point that I'll get back to a bit later, but Deku reaches out to Nagant, offers her a glimmer of hope before All For One takes it all away. I'll return to that point soon, but just keep in mind that this is a theme that plays out multiple times since then, which is hope being introduced or present, but then ripped away. Or similarly with Star and Stripe, we were shown the world's strongest woman, literally the strongest woman in the world, but then she was defeated by Tomura Shigaraki, a villain whose powers are still somewhat unclear even to the readers. It's like this new ray of hope is introduced only to be immediately taken away. Don't get me wrong though, I still think the Nagant and Star and Stripe plotlines have some major flaws, but this isn't the video to discuss that in. But in my opinion, these chapters really do have merit to them, despite their glaring flaws. I think the moment or chapter that's criticized the most though is chapter 327. Just mentioning that number is enough to make a few chronically online people roll their eyes, and yeah, that dig was aimed at particular people, not most of the viewers of this video. Crazy how this chapter has been deemed the worst My Hero Academia chapter to date. Honestly, I used to agree. I used to hate this chapter as well. But in hindsight, I really don't think it's that bad. This chapter is really the essence of the first act. These kids who aspire to be heroes are so positive, looking forward to kicking villains' butts, and is overall just a really positive chapter. This is right before the final war, where the heroes are currently losing. It's reintroducing the concept that I mentioned earlier, the presence of hope being torn away. Everything was looking up for Class 1A. But now look at the current situation. Jiro lost an ear, Bakugou is literally dead, Kurogiri is warping the villains, just to list a few. And that brings me on to my next point. I'm going to move on from other people's criticisms now and just talk about what I think is good about current My Hero Academia. To start, Horikoshi is not making the final battles all fan service. Sometimes in stories, authors will make things happen just to make their fans happy. If Horikoshi was writing to appeal to fans, then we would probably have some crazy ass pulls so Bakugou could defeat Shigaraki, but instead he just killed off Bakugou. Me personally, I really appreciate the fact that Horikoshi is taking these risks to make his story good. Even though I am predicting he'll revive Bakugou, well, most of us are predicting he'll revive Bakugou, the treatment of the character in itself is something that is not done to please the fans. No Bakugou stan wants to see him get brutally beaten by a villain. The whole story just has higher stakes right now. The villains are literally winning right now. This video might be uploaded after the next chapter, but right now Kurogiri has warped Toya and the twice clones to Hawks and Endeavor. It's set up for a killer confrontation, particularly between Toya and Endeavor. but now that we're in the final act, there's a stronger sense of finality. You know anyone can die, even Deku could die in the end, depending on what story Horikoshi goes with. And kind of adding on to that point, I like how Horikoshi is making background characters more relevant now. I hate to drag other series into this, so I'll compare it to a series that I like and that I could praise for hours, Assassination Classroom. Without spoilers, this is another series that is set up in a classroom that introduces other classes during the series, similar to My Hero Academia. However, as the series progressed, I felt like some of the kids, or even most of them, weren't expanded upon beyond basic personality traits. Now, compare this to My Hero Academia. Random characters are being used and expanded on even now. For example, a minor character like Aoyama being named as a traitor, but it wasn't so sudden that people couldn't predict this. Most of the kids in Class 1A have had some sort of backstory or moment that caused even the smallest background characters like Zero or Koda to have fans. Like how I brought Shoji in to confront Spinner and the other heteromorphs at the hospital, giving more depth to Shoji's characters and somewhat Spinner's too. I think my last point is something that we can all agree on, or at least we should, and that's that Horikoshi's art is some of the best in the game right now, especially when you consider it's a weekly series. Me personally, Horikoshi's art style is my favourite, and it's remained consistently amazing throughout the series, even getting better as the series progresses. And yes, the art absolutely does contribute to how good a manga series is in my opinion. Good art makes an already good story more enjoyable. Having said that, that's where I'm going to leave this video. I know I could have said a lot more to defend My Hero Academia, but I don't really want to make this return/first video way too long. If you have any questions or just want to talk, you can follow my Twitter. The link will be in the description and the pinned comment. Also, a big shout out to Sam, Ron, Rook, and AJ, who have helped me come up with some points to this topic and who have been helping my channel. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see any future videos. Stay safe, friends. Bye!